I'm Kendra Koch, and I'm here today to tell you about my life as a bug. And not just any bug, a cockroach. You see, when I was a child, adults treated me like a pest. I was always the wrong kind of kid, too loud, too sensitive, too much, too everything. When I cried because my clothes felt like they were suffocating me, my parents told me to be quiet and be a good girl. When I struggled to do my homework or remember my lunch in my backpack, my teachers told me to pay more attention, try harder. And classmates called me weird, stuffed me in trash cans, and laughed every time I raised my hand to answer questions at school in class. When I started complaining about migraines at age 8, instead of getting medical care, I was told to stop being dramatic. It didn't take me long to believe that, like a cockroach, I was unloved and unwanted. I started flattening myself to fit in spaces where I didn't think I belonged. I tried exterminating the parts of me that people didn't like or understand. But by college, hiding was no longer an effective strategy. My migraines were getting worse. I couldn't focus in class, and I really wanted to have friends. So I decided, just like a caterpillar into a butterfly, I needed to transform. I crawled into the multi-billion-dollar chrysalis known as the health and wellness industry. I crawled in so deep, I even became a wellness expert, developing products in Silicon Valley to help other people transform into butterflies too. From mainstream medicine to fringe advice that I found in internet forums, I tried everything that claimed it would fix me. Supplements, Pilates, bubble baths, mud baths, sound baths, all the baths. And then when that didn't work, I tried MRIs and CAT scans and blood tests. These never turned up anything, so I kept trying. I tried dozens of medications, self-help books, and courses on productivity. Then I tried journals and more self-help books, and even more self-help books. Amazon really likes me. I even broke my own heart by quitting gluten. Thousands of dollars in medical debt later and hundreds of hours lost. I was tragically still me. Even worse, I was also depressed, anxious, broke, and deeply confused. But for some unexplainable reason, I still believed that I could one day be a butterfly. That is, until a therapist shocked me out of my cozy, yoga pants constructed chrysalis when she told me that I had ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, autism, and complex PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I was 34 and pregnant, and I was definitely not ready for that news. I had a degree in psychology. I worked in the wellness industry for over a decade. How on earth did I not know that about myself? None of it made sense. But that was the information I needed to start healing. Not transforming, healing. I started to admit that the chrysalis I was in, it was pretty lonely. And I was stuck on a stick. Maybe trying to change myself was the wrong solution. Maybe it wasn't so bad to be a cockroach after all. Sure, butterflies are beautiful, but cockroaches? We're clever, adaptive, survival machines. While butterflies need a spring garden to survive, cockroaches can do it in the trash, in winter, without their heads. That is true. They have evolved sensory systems that, like me, alert them to danger, help them find their way in the world, and it makes them perceptive, adaptive innovators. And unlike the butterfly, cockroaches don't try to take on the world alone. Instead of competing with one another, they live together in colonies, sharing food and information that helps them all thrive. So if there's anything you take away from this talk today, it's this. Healing is not an act of transforming into someone else, and it's not an act of exterminating the parts of yourself that people don't like or understand. Healing is the act of discovering who you already are, finding what you actually need, and shedding the negative beliefs about yourself that are keeping you isolated and stuck. Unlike the butterfly, cockroaches don't transform or metamorphose by rearranging themselves into something new. They shed their skin and regrow until they're bigger and bigger and bigger. And for me, that is what healing was. I was shedding the parts of me that I previously rejected, the things people told me about myself that held me back. And every time I did that, I grew more capacity to hold my pain, my struggle, my gifts, and everything about who I was. Healing also doesn't require you to change. It requires you to connect. First with yourself, and then with your colony, the people who see you, understand you, and love you for who you really are. So I wonder, how many of you have been living in a chrysalis, scared, alone, and wondering when life will change? Here's what I want you to know. You don't have to keep hiding in there. The world doesn't need more butterflies. It needs more cockroaches. More people brave enough to survive in hard places, perceptive enough to sense what others miss, and generous enough to share what they've learned. And even though I may not be a butterfly, I'm still going to grow wings and thrive, not despite who I am, but because of it. And instead of feeding off the butterfly gardens, I'll take a page out of the cockroach playbook and metabolize the world's trash, outdated systems, harmful beliefs, and shame into the very compost that will grow them. Thank you.